Welcome back to A Broken World, Chapter 3, An Older Kid, a Little Girl, and the Beast. Previously on Chapter 2, Samantha, the leader of a small group of kids, are making their way through the hills and forests to try and find shelter and provisions at a local town. What will happen when they get there? The mother was sitting on a chair. She knew there was something wrong, but she refused to admit it. She had been healthy for so long. She hadn't changed. She thought she would get through it. Her skin was itchy. She was hot. Her vision had become blurry. There were voices in her head. They weren't clear, but they were trying to tell her something. Wait, was it in her head? Yes, no, perhaps? There was another sound, another voice. It came from a small one. Who was this small one talking to her? Yes, she remembered now. What was it called? Daughter. That was it. Her daughter. Her head started to clear. The voices died down. She could focus at last. It slowly all came back to her. She looked down at her hand. It was holding a knife. The knife had blood covered all over it. Fear struck her. What happened? She looked around, her vision still a little blurred, but her surroundings were coming into focus. She looked around and saw a body on the ground. The blood was pooling on the wooden floor in their living room. Oh God! What have I done? She dropped the knife and it stuck into the ground tip first. Mom! Mom! A voice came calling out. The mother lifted her head up. That voice. It was familiar. It called out to her again. My daughter. The mother moved forward to the dead body on the floor. She rolled it over. She squinted. The face came into focus. She knew the face, but she couldn't remember who it was. She knew this person. This person was important. So why couldn't she remember him? She heard the noise coming from behind her. She quickly turned around. A small child. No, two of them, standing there, looking at her. Mommy, one of the girls said. Who is this? Mary? Yes, Mary, the smaller, the younger one. But there's two of them, right? Mary and... Zoe! Yes, that's right, Mary and Zoe. My girls! It was starting to come back to her now. Mom, what did you do? What did you do to Dad? The eldest daughter Zoe asked, with a slight edge to her voice. The mother looked at the dead body on the floor. Dad? No, that's what they called him. Husband? John? That sounded right. She had a memory of the dead man. They were there together with the kids by the lake. It was a perfect sunny day. The memory hit the mother hard, and she began to cry. Why? Why did she kill him? The smallest one, Mary, ran up to her mother and hugged her. Mommy, you're back. You're okay now. Everything's gonna be okay. She began to sob, hugging her mother. The mother stood there, feeling the small body wrapped around her. The smell. It was the smell of her blood. It started to heat up. She felt the itch again. Her vision started to blur once more. The voices came back.
These little things. Feedbacks. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Cut it, kill it, eat it, slurp it. They are the enemy. They want your blood. You must have their blood, though. You must slurp it, drink it, crunch it. That's how they feel. They feel goody goody gumdrops. Goody goody gumdrops down your throat. Goody goody gumdrops. Goody goody gumdrops will fill your tummy. Make you gloat. Do it. You know you want to do it. You must do it. You must drink them now. You must eat them now. Feed.
The mother tried to block them out, but she couldn't. It was like they were talking through her, around her whole body, pulsating through her brain. She pulled the small creature closer to her, embracing her, snuggling her. She held her tightly. Then the small thing started to squirm, trying to shout, but only muffled cries came out. She then felt the other small thing pulling on her, but the mother was strong. The mother jerked her arm back, feeling a satisfying crack as the elbow hit the nose. Instantaneously, she could smell the blood in the air. The voices were now screaming in her brain. Eat! Eat! She couldn't control herself anymore. She pulled back her head and bit down on the small one's neck. She tasted the blood flow through her mouth and down her throat. It tasted so sweet. It cooled her body down. The voices started to dim once more. She knew the blood tasted better than anything she's had ever before. She wanted to try the meat, the bones, everything else just sounded so succulent in her brain.
Zoe, the elder daughter, held her nose. It hurt. She removed her hand to see blood. She got up just in time to see her own mother bite down her little sister. She wanted to scream. She wanted to shout, "No!" But her voice failed her. Nothing came out. "Why, Mummy?" She knew that the world had changed, had turned bad. She was only 4 at the time, but she understood. She could see it upon her parents' face. Something was wrong. She was only 7 now. She understood that things had changed. Her parents had taught her how to survive, the things she should and shouldn't do. She would look after her baby sister when her parents would go out and find food. She had not explored anywhere outside the house or the garden. She was told it was too dangerous, but now the danger was inside her house. It was her own mother. She didn't know what had happened, why her mother had changed all of a sudden. All she knew is that she had to save her baby sister. She ran into the kitchen. She was not supposed to know about it, but she knew that her parents kept a secret gun in one of the upper cabinet cupboards, so her baby sister could not find it by accident. The door had a lock on it. She scrambled up to the top of the counter and flung open the cupboard door. She could not quite see the top shelf where she knew it would be. She flung the plates and cups, letting them crash down and smash upon the floor. Her hands roamed around the shelf until she felt a metal heavy object. She grabbed it and looked at the 9mm pistol in her hand. It felt cold. It felt heavy. Yet, to her, somehow it felt right. In a flash, Zoe jumped off the counter but landed on a shard of glass from when she threw the things out of the cupboard before. Grinding her teeth, she limped back towards the living room. She stood there for a moment, unable to process what she was seeing. Her mother, her own mother, was stood there, chewing on a large piece of flesh that she must have tore from her baby sister. Zoe stood there, unable to process anything. She stood there, unknowing what to do. She was only thinking to herself, "This can't be true. This is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I'm gonna wake up any moment." But she knew, somewhere deep inside, it wasn't, and she wouldn't. The mother stood up and dropped the little girl that was her sister to the ground with a heavy thud. The mother started to walk towards Zoe. She held a smile on her face, but it was not the happy face Zoe remembered from before. There was something manic about it, like her mother had lost all sense of who she was, and she didn't know what she was doing. The mother moved with surprising grace, almost like a waltz. Zoe held up the gun and pointed towards her own mother. "Please stop, Mum," she shouted, but her mother just cocked her head back to the side, curious. "Please stop, Mum, don't make me do this." Zoe wanted to cry, but the tears would not come. The mother kept on coming towards her. She was only a few inches away. Then she stopped. Zoe held the gun out. It felt impossibly heavy in her small hands that were shaking uncontrollably now. The mother looked at this thing. She could not remember what it was now, who it was, a she. That's right. What did they call me? Other? Further? No. Mother! That's it. They call me Mother. She opened her mouth. "Come to Mommy." Her voice was crackled and slurred. Zoe couldn't do it, she realized. She couldn't kill her own mother. Even if she could, why bother? What would she have left? Her family were all dead, she thought. Perhaps it's just better to end it now. Perhaps she could join her sister and her father after she died. She let the gun drop to the floor and put her hands over her eyes so she couldn't see. She could hear her mother getting closer, so close now. She could smell the vile breath over her face. Zoe was trembling as the mother licked the side of her face, the hot saliva dripping down her cheek. Any moment now, it would be all and done with. A loud sound filled the air, then the sound of something falling to the wooden floor. Zoe opened one eye. The mother was no longer there. She opened the other eye and looked down. Her mother, or what used to be her mother, was on the floor. The top half of her skull was missing. Brain matter was seeping out. She looked out into the living room. Her little sister, not moving, half her neck had been ripped out. "You okay, kid?" A gravelly voice came out from the dark. Zoe couldn't see the face that was hidden in the shadows. The only thing she could see was the orange glowing circle as the person smoked his cigarette. "Hey, kid," I asked, "are you okay?" Zoe could not talk. She could not move. The most she could do was nod her head. "Good. Lucky I happened to be here just in time, looking through the window." He threw the cigarette to the floor and put it out using the heel of his blackened boots. He walked forward in the candlelight, casting glow over his face. If everything that happened did not happen before, Zoe would have been scared to see his face. He had a long scar running across his forehead, and 3 other nasty-looking scars running down the side of his face. He had short brown hair and appeared to be in his early to mid-20s.
If you have anything, you better go get it now. We leave in 5.
Zoe knew that she was in shock. She couldn't believe her whole family was dead. She understood. Many other people had lost their family too. But she always thought they were different. They lived in a house. Her parents were healthy. They never saw the change where they lived. Zoe felt numb, cold. She couldn't move a single step. She felt the stranger's hand take hers. She refused to move, refused to leave her family.
Look, girl, I don't have time for this. I know what happened. It sucks. I guess they were your family?
Zoe nodded.
We have all lost people over the last few years. That's the world we live in now.
He pulled his lighter out of his leather jacket pocket.
You have to decide what you want now. I'm going to burn this place down.
Zoe looked up confused.
Look, kid, I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time to explain to you. But I know the only way to stop the sick getting out further and hurting more people is to burn it. So you go or you stay. Either way, I can take you or I can leave you here in the fire.
He gave her a cold hard stare as he walked away, piling books and paper, anything that would be combustible to help the fire grow. Zoe did not know what to do. She stood there, unmoving, unfeeling. She did not care if she died right now. But there was a small part of her that she knew that she had to carry on. Not for her, not even for her family, but to kill every last of those changed assholes who stole her life from her, who took everyone's life. Her fist clenched. She took a step forward and fell down. The pain in her foot was unbearable. She had landed on the glass earlier, and she didn't even know how bad it was. Because of the adrenaline, she didn't feel the pain when she first moved. She looked at her foot to see a 3-inch shard sticking out right in the middle of the sole of her foot. The stranger squatted down and looked at her foot.
Did it hurt?
Zoe nodded.
Okay, so I'm going to count to 3. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it out.
She shook her head.
I won't lie. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a hell of a lot. But if we leave it in, it would be even worse. So, 3, 2.
He yanked the shard out before getting to 1. He nodded in his approval that she did not scream, shout, or make any sound. She just scrunched up her face, holding in the pain. He pulled off his backpack and flushed out some bandages and wrapped it. Holding her foot, he poured some disinfectant over it, then quickly finished wrapping it up.
Okay, come on. We only got a moment or two before we become some barbecue.
He lifted her up over her shoulder and carried her out, as the flames in the house roared behind them. He put Zoe down and sat her on a rock.
Say goodbye, kid. Leave it all behind and look to the future.
Zoe sat there on the cold night, watching the flames consume her entire house, taking away her life. The fire mirrored in her dark eyes in the night. It was gone. It was all gone. Part of her wanted to run back into the flames and join her family, but the bigger part of her knew that her family wanted her to live on. The man looked down at the girl. He had come across many people in his days, but there was something a little weird, a little bit off about this girl.
It's up to you, kid. You can come with me for a short time until you find a new place, or you could stay here and go off on your own. Either option ain't exactly safe.
She looked up at him quietly.
You don't say much, do you?
The girl just stood there looking at him.
Well, that's good. I prefer to have my quiet anyway. So decision time. With me, and remember, only until we find another town. Or do you want to stay here?
Zoe looked up at this man. His face scared her. He killed her mother, burned down their house. But he didn't do it in anger. She thought, in some ways, he did it to help her. Something told her that she could trust this man, at least for now. Deciding to stay with him, for the time being, was probably the best option for her. For the first time, the man smiled. It didn't help. If anything, he looked even more menacing than before, because his smile stretched the scars out on his face.
Okay then. I guess you can't tell me your name.
Zoe opened her mouth, but no sound came out.
Yup, that's what I thought. I'm just gonna call you, girl until then. Or until you get your voice back.
Zoe frowned and crossed her arms, looking angry.
Okay. I get it. Not girl. We'll come up with a name later. But first, we gotta leave. You ain't gone too far, too quick that foot, missy. But lucky for you, I got something to help.
Putting 2 fingers between his lips, he let out a loud whistle. There was a rustling in the cluster of trees behind them. Something black leapt out. Zoe jumped back and hid behind the stranger. The man gave a laugh.
Yeah, should do that to you. I think that's the point.
Still cowering behind the stranger, she peered underneath his arms to be greeted with two glowing orange-yellow eyes that looked back at her. What stood before her was something she had never seen before, a black panther. It had a long, muscular body that was almost as tall as she was. It gave her a curious look, not threatening, but it scared her nonetheless. "Come here, Lucy," the man said, making a clicking sound with his tongue. The large black animal slowly strolled up to him, resting its head on a held-out hand. He scratched underneath the chin. The cat gave the loudest, appreciative sound Zoe had ever heard from any animal. "Now, Lucy, this is the girl. She's a friend. She's going to have to ride you for a little bit. She's hurt her foot, you see?" He pointed to Zoe's foot and mimed pain. "It's okay. She won't hurt you. You just come up here, rub her head. Just come up slowly at first. She needs to get your smell." Zoe slowly reached out her small hand in front of the panther. The panther leaned forward and started to sniff around it. Zoe let out a slight giggle as the panther licked her palm. She ventured a little further and stroked the panther's head. The panther looked up into Zoe's eyes, telling her, "We're friends now." "Okay, now off we go." He lifted Zoe up and put her on the back of Lucy. The panther shook a little bit, adjusting for the weight, and slowly started to walk. "Oh yeah, I'm Marshall, by the way." He flashed Zoe a smile as he walked alongside Zoe and the panther. "These are strange days we live in," he mused to himself. Zoe took one last look behind her to see her house in flames. It engulfed the night sky, casting an orange glow across the trees and the forest. She was sad. She knew she would miss her family, her life, her house, her mother, her father, her sister. But deep down inside, she knew she had to carry on. She had to be strong. What did the future hold for her? She didn't know. But one thing was clear. One aim, one objective. She would not rest until all the changed have been killed.